Imagine giving years of your life to a company, sacrificing your time, your energy, your mental health sometimes, only to realize that one meeting, one email, one corporate decision could change your entire life overnight. This is the reality many people are waking up to right now. And what makes it even more painful is realizing that most of us were never taught to build a life outside of a paycheck. We were taught how to become employees, but not how to become owners, not how to create income for ourselves, not how to build options. So when uncertainty hits a job, it feels like your entire future is shaken. Hi, my name is Catherine, coach and business strategist. I help women who are overwhelmed, burnt out, or feeling uncertain in their careers understand that they are capable of building income and opportunities beyond the traditional path they were taught to follow. And today, I want to have a real conversation about what to do when your job no longer feels stable and why this moment may be bigger than just your current job situation. Because this conversation is bigger than layoffs, bigger than burnout, bigger than one company. There is this is really about a long-term freedom. There is a specific kind of anxiety that comes from feeling uncertain at work. You try to ignore it. You tell yourself you are overthinking. You try to stay grateful that I have a job. But deep down, your body feels it, the tension, the instability, the fear. Maybe leadership change. Maybe layoffs started happening. Maybe people are disappearing from meetings. Maybe expectations keep increasing while support keeps decreasing. And what makes it hard is that many women have tied their entire sense of safety to their job. Not because they are weak, because that is what we were taught. We were taught get the good grades, get the degree, get the job, work hard, stay loyal, and eventually you'll be secure. But what happens when the thing you thought was secure no longer feels secure? And I think a lot of women are silently grieving that right now. Not just grieving job uncertainty and insecurity, but grieving the realization that the system they trusted may not protect them the way they thought it would. And that is where I need to say something that may sound uncomfortable. Hope is not a strategy. Hoping that it works out, that is not a strategy. Hoping your company survives is not a strategy. Hoping you never get laid off is not a strategy. Hoping burnout magically improves is not a strategy. Because uncertainty is not the real problem. The real problem is having no plan outside of the thing making you feel uncertain. And I say this with compassion because so many women were never taught, differently. It's only been that one option, the traditional path. Most people were taught how to survive inside a system, not how to build outside of them. So when instability happens, people freeze because they do not believe they have options. One of the biggest mindset shifts I had to make personally was realizing that employment is not the only legitimate way to make money. And that sounds obvious on the surface, but conditioning runs deep because many women were taught that income must come from getting hired, being chosen, being approved, being promoted, being kept. Meanwhile, companies are monetizing skills every single day. And many women are sitting on valuable skills they never even considered monetizing themselves. Think about everything you know how to do: project management, communication, organization, leadership, problem solving, coaching people, teaching, wellness, customer support, operations, administrative skills, your life experience. What struggles have you been through that you have gotten on the other side? There are a lot of individuals who have those struggles, and because you have gotten through, you could show them how they can also get through it. That's your life experience. So even if you have not been in a corporate experience, you may have a life experience, or you may have a skill that someone wants to learn. Your personal transformation has value. There are people building businesses around things you naturally do every day. And I think this is part of what many women need to hear. The goal is not necessarily to quit your job tomorrow. I would never advocate for that. So let's be clear on that. We're not talking about quitting your job and then starting something. That is not practical. The goal is to stop depending on one source of income for your entire future. That is the real conversation, because one stream of income attached to the company is vulnerability, especially in today's world. Everything is shifting. And this is not fear-based thinking. I don't work in that. I don't operate in that. I operate in reality. This is proactive thinking. There is a difference. Fear says everything is falling apart. Wisdom says it is time to prepare. And preparation creates confidence. I think one of the saddest things is watching brilliant women stay trapped in fear because they cannot see beyond the identity they've built around their job. And I understand it, because careers become matched to identity. You spent years building it, achieving, performing, being recognized for it. So the thought of doing something outside of that feels terrifying. But sometimes uncertainty is not destroying your life. Sometimes it is waking you up. Maybe this season is exposing how much of your security has been placed in systems outside of yourself. Maybe this season is forcing you to finally ask, what else am I capable of? What skills have I ignored? What gifts have I minimized? What knowledge do I have that could help someone else? What if there is more available for my life than surviving a job that drains me? I really want women to stop thinking short term survival and start thinking long term ownership. Ownership of your income, your skills, your future, your time, your options. Because the women who are going to feel the most empowered in the next decade are not the women pretending uncertainty does not exist. It will be the women who prepared, the women who learned new skills, built visibility online, created additional income streams, started businesses, created digital products, positioned themselves differently. Not because they hated their jobs, but because they finally understood that one paycheck should not determine the quality of their future. And I need women to understand something. You do not have to have everything figured out to begin. You do not need a perfect business plan. You do not need to quit your job. You do not need a huge audience. What you need is the willingness to start seeing yourself differently, not just as an employee, but as someone capable of creating value beyond the company badge. And once your mind opens to that possibility, everything changes. Because now uncertainty no longer feels like the end. It becomes the beginning of expansion. If this message resonated with you, I created a free guide called Tap into Your Zone of Genius and Monetize It. This guide was created for women who are ready to stop believing their job is the only option and start identifying the skills, the strength, the experiences, and knowledge they can turn into an online business. Inside, I walk you through a framework to help you identify your monetizable skills, uncover business ideas, shift your mindset, and begin thinking differently about your future. Because the goal is not just to survive uncertainty, the goal is to build a life where your peace, income, and future are not dependent on one door staying open. Your job may be uncertain right now, but your potential is not. You have a lot of potential, which means you have a lot of opportunity. I hope that this video will give you something to think about and that you will consider your options. Do grab the guide. The link is in the description below. And if you would like to talk further, book a call to chat with me. That link is also in the description. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next video.